Welcome to Victory Health TV and Victory Health Radio. I'm your health coach and wellness physician, Dr. Jake Parrish, co-owner founder of Victory Health Center here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Today, I've got Melanie Marden from California to talk about the truckers' health empowerment journey and what you can do for your first steps, for your first part of stepping away from the medical model, the basic traditional model that you've been in, and living a more natural model and getting away from what most people consider normal, but it's really common. And so thank you, Miss Melanie, for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited. I've been waiting weeks. We planned this like
Yeah,
a month ago, right?
yeah. I wish we were doing this in person in Knoxville. I love your accent.
There's a lot of us. There's a lot of us country boys here. You know, we've seen a lot of influx of people from everywhere. I would say that, you know, we have a very busy clinic here, and I would say that 25 to 40% of the people that come into the clinic recently for new patients, California, Washington, and New York. That's where
That's
they're coming
amazing.
from.
Good for you. I love it. Makes sense. I mean, things are a
Totally.
little crazy over here in Cali.
Yeah. So what is the situation? What's it like? Let's back up just a little bit. And so we're both on the same page as far as we want to. The reason that we're doing this today is that we want to empower you and give you the courage to step out of your comfort zone and do the things that your life is calling you to do, but you've been held back. And we're on this. We all feel an energy right now. We all feel this vibration of like something's about to explode. Something's going to happen. It's for the good. That's the coolest thing. There's a lot of Debbie Downers out there, and I can get that like that too. But this is super positive, man. There's going to be some really amazing change, like the truckers in Canada that are like just tearing it up. It's awesome. It's awesome. What do you think about that? What do you think about those people?
Honestly, the last couple of years really, I mean, to be honest, I was happy that I left Canada. I left, 14 years ago or 15 years ago. And I was thinking, oh my God, I'm so glad I'm not in Canada. Like, it's just so crazy over there. And, speaking of my dad, and he's telling me what's been taking place in the news and all this stuff. And
Yeah.
I was like, wow. But this last couple of weeks, I have been almost emotional and so proud to be Canadian, to see these people bind together, to help one another, to stand up for what's right, to encourage each other, even little children helping packing lunches and writing little notes to the truckers. And these truckers are crying on social media, these big burly men. It's people of all walks of life that have a common truth. And that truth is medical freedom, and nobody can dictate what we choose to put on our body. And yeah, I am just so proud of you, truckers. So if anybody's watching, I'm cheering you on from LA. I'm so proud of you, and I'm so grateful that you had the courage to stand up.
So you're from, and I'm going to put us on speaker for you. You're from Canada.
Yeah, I'm originally from Toronto. I grew up there.
Gotcha. And so have you always been, has it always been like that in Canada?
Everyone is just so nice there. They say sorry for no reason. Like, we're programmed to apologize. And it felt to me very small townish, like
Yeah.
the country.
Yeah.
And nobody wanted to ruffle any feathers and that kind of mentality. And I outgrew it very young. And coming to LA, it was definitely more of, a challenge, more my speed. Like, people will speak up and stand up for themselves. But to see this take place across the country
Yeah, it's really awesome.
is just, am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, cool.
Fucking awesome. Like, I'm so excited. I think they're gonna accomplish some great headway for us. And I mean, already Alberta's changed their mandates, and
Yep.
I'm pretty sure intuitively I'm thinking there's gonna be some more movement in the right direction, which is, what we want, so that I can go home and visit my dad.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, and it's so what are we doing here in the States? Like, it's absurd that people can't come into the States without a jab and without some kind of testing. You can't even you're an American citizen, can't get back in. One of the very first people that I met doing this what we call this healthy people. So I think this is the 13th or 14th episode that I've had, and the second person that I interviewed was from Canada, Alberta. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, and so she was starting to feel the pressure. That was about a year ago or so.
Right.
And it's like they just took those people off the map almost, as far as like communication, and you weren't getting the news and that kind of stuff out of there. Now that there's some mainstream following of this movement that's happening in Canada, it's moving on into the United States as well.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the same in Canada. Like I can't go there without a vaccination. Flat. Like, I mean, I could if I wanted to go and deal with some authority.
You have to do the
swabs and quarantine, and I just don't do well in those situations, so I don't want to end up getting arrested.
No, not at all. So you moved from Canada. You went directly to California.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And then at some point over the last 10 or 15 years, you've developed a passion for people and a passion for you're a unique person. You really are. I mean, I've watched a bunch of your videos on Instagram, and I've really been following you for a long time. The plethora of knowledge that you are trying to bless people with, from electricity to our own personal vibration and love for ourselves, it's really cool. How did you start that process, or what got you going in that direction?
Well, I was raised by an incredible single mom, and she dedicated her life to me, but she took nothing for herself, and she died very young of brain cancer. So I basically learned from her by default what not to do, because I didn't want to follow in the same path as her.
That's good.
So I've always had an interest in natural therapies and remedies, and philosophies that were kind of squashed or not really talked about. That's what I wanted to know. And, I started to geek out and study, suppressed technologies and, suppressed abilities that we have, and quantum physics and cures for cancer. Let's get right into it.
Yeah.
So I've always been really obsessed with what can I do for myself to step into my power, my totality, my gifts. And I want to empower others to know that's within them as well, and to teach them how to unlock it, really.
Did you have a breaking moment? Was there a moment that you like something changed for you?
Yeah.
It was your mother's cancer.
My mom laying in my arms saying, "I'm scared to die."
I'm sorry. Was she in Canada or California?
Back in Canada, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So when the thing you love the most in the world is taken away from you, makes you reassess a lot of things. And I'm grateful that her soul chose that journey so that I could step into my divine path of helping others to prevent that.
That's good. You're really you're on a different level, man. You really are.
Aw, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, thank you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for doing what you do. So, what do you mean suppressed technology?
We're gonna get into the good stuff.
Let's go.
Okay. Well, I mean, there's so many to discuss. I don't know if anybody else geeks out and watches Gaia TV, but there's a guy on there that I watch called Emery Smith, and that is brilliant.
Yes. Yes, you're right. You're right.
So he kind of, sparked this interest, and then I started digging. And 13 years ago, after my mom passed away, I started really investigating things in history that had proven to be effective in curing cancer. And so one of the technologies was Raymond Royal Rife, and he was based in California, actually, in the 30s. And the AMA agreed that his work was precise, 100% effective in curing 16 terminal cancer patients. And they wanted to buy his work. So I started to dive in to understand his work. And it's based on quantum physics. Everything in existence has its own frequency, unique, divine frequency. And no other thing has the same frequency. So each of us, this computer, the tree, everything in existence has its own frequency, which means everything has its own resonant frequency, the frequency in which it can't exist.
Okay.
So it's the polar opposite, right?
Got you.
So an example of that, what I learned, is when the opera singer sings and she hits that high note, the crystal glass explodes.
Yeah.
That frequency she hit is the crystal glass's resonant frequency.
Got you.
Right. This brilliant man in the 30s figured out the frequency of cancer and sent the resonant frequency. And in all 16 terminal cancer patients, it disappeared.
That's real deal.
That's in the newspaper, in the San Diego Journal, or whatever it's called, San Diego Tribune. Yeah.
Huge.
So that started my documentary.
His machine that he developed was called a Rife machine. It's a RIFE machine.
Correct.
Yeah. I don't know if are they legal in the United States? I know that they're legal in, like, if you go to Germany or you go to somewhere that actually knows that, you can get that kind of treatment, but not in the United States, I don't think, right?
It's very, but there are some machines in the U.S., but there's also the other side of that. And this is where I believe the bad actors, let's call them, are able to discredit, write off. My dog's snoring behind me.
No, I don't hear anything.
She's bored. She's heard this before. But that's where they're able to discredit his work, because there is also the responsibility of this brilliant piece of technology and being able to use it. So there's, if you go on like a normal search engine, i.e. Google, it's going to say all this bad, discrediting stuff about Rife.
Right.
Was their goal, because he wouldn't sell his science to the AMA, and they wanted to shelf it.
That's good.
And he said, no, I want this to be available to everyone for free, because his mother died of cancer as well.
Oh, really?
So, yes, that's why he dedicated his life to living in a basement with microscopes. I mean, he built the universal microscope. That still exists today as the most powerful microscope. It was built in the 30s.
Fascinating,
so this man is
dude.
Clearly brilliant.
Absolutely fascinating. You said something that kind of poked at me, and I think it's in a good way. Okay, so miracle technology, dude. Miracle technology, not available. Why?
Well, this is what my documentary is about. So I'll give you a little bit on it. Then you'll have to watch the doc.
Yeah, we definitely will.
It'll be done in I think 4 or 5 months or something. We're in editing. Why is it suppressed? Well, if you have something that costs nothing to run, and it's 100% effective with no side effects within 90 days, that's going to eradicate a lot of positions and a lot of money. And sadly, the way our industrial complexes are set up, money is required.
Mm-hmm.
So
And you always follow the money. You always follow where it goes. This whole
yeah,
last 2 years, you can do that. You can follow it, and you know exactly who's playing the game, and why
yes,
who's saying what they're saying.
yes.
The
I mean, just to touch on that a wee bit more,
yeah.
my documentary doesn't just tell the story of Rife, who cured cancer in the 1930s, but it
Wow.
follows Harry Hoxsey, who did the same thing in the 1960s, and their story is identical. This story repeats itself with the next incredible human that cures cancer, and most of them, not all, but most of them, kill themselves, if you believe that.
That's interesting. Is that the Rife story? Is that he killed himself?
Correct.
And Huxley is his name.
Hoxsey.
Killed himself.
No, actually, he got sick and he did pass of natural circumstances. So not everyone in my doc, but there are several. I have yeah.
And I'll step in there and say this is that we know that within the last 15 years, there's been a lot of breakthroughs in healthcare. There's been like dozens, hundreds. I think there's a couple hundred maybe of natural doctors from all around the country that are no longer with us and die of mysterious things and those kind of things. And we don't have to go too deep into because that's a separate hole. But
well, that's my documentary.
but that's good. That's
Yeah.
and we'll have like some viewing parties here at the clinic for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Absolutely. But whenever you have 2 bullet wounds, you know it's not suicide.
Interesting. See, and that's what needs to get out. That kind of stuff. It's the same thing for a lot of patients wake up. I'll tell you what a wake up for a lot of people is when you see the brain. There's a study. I don't know when exactly it was, but they put amalgam fillings, the mercury fillings into sheep teeth. And they followed the sheep to see where it went and all the autopsies and everything else. And they did these different kind of scans. And
Yep.
mercury just lays in the organs. It just lays in the brain. And the difference in one of those animals that had mercury fillings versus didn't, their brain was like a quarter the size smaller. Develop degenerational diseases like almost like a Parkinson's type Alzheimer's disease.
Yeah.
People start to wake up when they realize that wait, I'm putting one of the most toxic substances in the world in my mouth.
Yeah.
Talk to your friend. That's how we met, and they're putting toxic substances into women's chests.
Yeah.
And women have no idea.
No, blind. Absolutely. Yep. It's a sad perspective, but for the depth of the darkness that does exist, there is the, top of the mountain of light that's accessible. So as much as it's good to know what this is, I choose to live in this realm.
That's good. But
you're right. I mean, women don't know. And, one of the suppressed technologies that I'm using out of Germany and Russia that was used on astronauts to measure their well-being before, during, and after space travel. So it doesn't leave any stone unturned. This device has the capacity to diagnose anything and everything, measure your amino acids, your vitamin levels, what foods are good for you, what you're allergic to, what you're sensitive to, if your liver's out of homeostasis, if your kidneys are backed up and not absorbing and detoxing. I mean, it tells you everything.
That's really cool.
You're acidic, alkaline, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
But what I've noticed in scanning patients and seeing the results is, you're right. What's been done in our mouth it absolutely relates to what's going on in the body because each tooth is on a meridian. And that's the organ related to the tooth. So
good.
I'm seeing people that have had root canals.
Yep.
And it's on the small intestine meridian, and they're having gut problems.
Yep.
So it's the teeth are directly related to our health for sure. And the mercury is absolutely carcinogenic, causes neurological problems, and can throw off whatever meridian it's sitting on.
Yep. So you got sick.
Yeah. Which time?
What exactly was going on with you?
Well, a couple of years ago, I had a bunch of weird new things going wrong, and the doctors were like, "No, everything's fine." You know how they do that.
Yep.
And what I learned is the doctors only know what they're allowed to diagnose. So, meaning, if a number is not in a what's this word I'm looking for? Like a
sequence?
Yeah. If from 10 to 100, you have this condition.
Yes.
If you're number 9, but you're not all the way, sick yet, they're going to tell you nothing's wrong. So there's nothing to prevent that from becoming a 10.
That's right.
So that's the most difficult thing. Anyways, nobody knew what was wrong with me, but I knew something was wrong. So, I've been, working with these doctors in my documentary for 13 years, and so I have a lot of people that I can call, thank God. And there was some hypothesis going around. Anyways, turns out it's radiation poisoning. So I'm a sensitive being.
Do you want to get into that?
We can.
Okay, so good, because I wanted to bring this up, and I know we kind of talked about how we were gonna we could talk about all kinds of stuff.
Yes.
Those people with those mercury fillings. If you mix a mercury filling with one of those gold caps, or you mix the mercury fillings with the metals in the teeth, it starts to create this arc and this frequency. And then when you add other frequencies, cell phones, Wi-Fi, now 5G, it makes you this high frequency, like unhealthy type frequency that's rattling your cells until they turn into cancers and all kinds of craziness. When you talk about radiation, I love this conversation. I really do. When you talk about radiation, most people think about nuclear radiation.
Correct.
We think about chemo radiation. That is not what we're talking about, is it?
No, but it's just as damaging.
Yeah.
It poisons the cells exactly the same. We just can't see it. We don't know that there's a bag dripping into my arm, or that there's a laser being shot on me, or there's a bomb going off. But there is a bomb going off every day.
Yep.
If we could see in the visible light spectrum radiation from Wi-Fi, cell phones, Bluetooth, cell towers, even television receivers, like there's 4 different kinds of negative EMFs that we're exposed to every day. And if those are on a higher count, they are known carcinogens.
Yeah.
So they poison the cells just the same. Some of the main symptoms, for me, it expressed as a digestion problem, which I've never had a digestion problem.
Interesting.
Like, my family's British. We eat meat, potatoes, like we're good stock, I've never had any problem. Now it was problematic, and I would just get ahead of it, and then it would start again. So it wasn't like a tummy bug.
Yep.
It was something was poisoning my tummy. So it expressed that way. I had horrible brain fog.
Yep.
To the point that my sharp, normal mind couldn't even process thoughts properly. Depression, exhausted, sleeping all the time, always tired. It was, I thought I was dying. So I had to learn how to detox my body and then protect myself moving forward, because this isn't something that's going to ease up. My body needs to acclimate, and in the right doses and with the right things integrated into my day, I'm able to keep myself at a healthy balance.
Do you feel better when you go out into the woods I mean, I'm sure you do, but I bet you feel like amazing.
Listen, I always say I need a little witch's cabin in the woods. That is my magical happy place. Like, I feel so good.
Yeah.
I hike all the time in this really heavily wooded area. Well, I mean, sort of heavily wooded. There's one part of the path that's heavily wooded. It's in the mountain, but it's lovely. Yeah, it makes a really big difference. And I barefoot ground for most of that time. Like, I have no shoes on.
Beautiful.
I need to detox this, positive ionic radiation in my body, for sure.
People in cities have a hard time getting nature. I think it's a little bit scary that they don't even take their shoes off, like no shoes all day, walking on concrete, and you get home and you're on carpet, or you're in an apartment complex with all this other Wi-Fi and everything else. And people don't understand that either. It's not just your cell phone. It's your friend's cell phone that's sitting at the table. It's when you pull up to the intersection, man, I've seen these meters just go off when all the cars converge in like a four-way.
Yep.
It's insane.
And not only that, but like our phone, I mean, it radiates the amount of radiation it does on its own. But when we have the Wi-Fi on, it doubles the intensity of the radiation. The Bluetooth times that by 5. So now you're generating 10 times more radiation. And where do we put it? Back pocket, front pocket, like it's on us. And that's so toxic. And people don't realize.
You taught me how to turn off the Wi-Fi on your phone a while back. Can you walk people through that real quick?
Yeah, it's on one of my videos on Instagram. I did it because I'm just finding in these scans, one of the most common things I'm seeing is ionic radiation in their cells and their organs, the heart, especially because it's the most prone. Yep. So yeah, all I do is, I don't know if you can see that.
Or you can just verbalize it, because this is on the podcast too.
Go to your settings, and then you'll open up to where it says Wi-Fi, and it's probably going to say either it's on a Wi-Fi or it's not connected.
Yep.
What you want to do is make sure it's turned off. So click on Wi-Fi and turn the green nodule off.
There you go. Super simple, dude. Yep.
And then the Bluetooth is the most important one. And that's one we get lazy about, because when we're in the car, we turn the Bluetooth on. So I make it a fact. I never get out of the car without turning the Bluetooth off.
That's good.
And get into that habit. And that minimizes the amount of radiation that's with you all day.
And I don't care how rich that I could ever be. I would, in the coolest AirPods that you could ever put on my head, I will never use those. I don't think I've ever used them. I've put them in my ear just to kind of feel what they felt like. But we're wired up. I'm a nerd. I'll wear that wire, because you're putting that right to your brain, y'all. Correct. And that's an opening too. That's right.
And
that's right.
Signaling each other through your brain.
That's right.
So, I mean, it took the World Health Organization almost a decade to come out and retract their statement that they said cell phones don't cause cancer. Yeah. They retracted it, but they did that very quietly. So that now we know this causes cancer.
Yeah.
If we're putting the Bluetooth in our ears, it's signaling every 3 seconds through our brain. It's literally frying. Yeah. Anytime I see anybody with earbuds, even people I don't know at the gym, they're like looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, you got to get the ones with the cords. It's so damaging.
People think we're like, and it's not old school, and that's one of the things I've been thinking about lately too, is that, and I watched a documentary a while back, and it was about the bells, and how all the bells in all the cities and like really in all the countries in the 20th century gone. All the bells are gone, replaced with digital noise. That there's in the bells ringing and regular like musical tones. Yeah, they are way different than a digital tone.
They're healing.
When we're just once again we're just surrounded by not just the Wi-Fi, 5G, or cell phone, the Bluetooth, but also these other things that are coming into pass. And so I'll stay with my corded headphones all day, every day.
Me too. And
Yep.
listen, as much as these negative frequencies can be detrimental to us, we also have the capability of using the same science to help ourselves. So,
That's good.
I mean, if I'm at home and I'm not on a podcast or with a patient, I've got my 528 hertz on, which is putting all my cells back in harmony because it's the magical miracle tone of the universe. So
Five
all use the same science.
528 528 is.
Yeah, 528 is the miracle tone. It
No.
repairs DNA and puts your cells back in harmony. 432 is hertz is the frequency of the earth. So that's also healing.
That's the old frequency at which music used to be recorded, like when there was
Correct.
tapes and like tapes and records.
Before the 40s.
Now it's in 441. That's called the Stuttgart rhythm or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what Hitler used.
See, that's deep. That's deep. And if you're, whether you're listening to the show or on the podcast, or you're watching this on YouTube, or catching it on Instagram, that kind of stuff is like real deal. That's why you follow Mel. It's like that's why you're kind of like keeping up with her, is because that who else are you ever going to hear that kind of thing from? And that's a deeper, like when we're talking about World War, there was a purpose for that frequency. There was a
Absolutely.
reason that they put them in that tone.
It's proven to make people angry and agitated.
Yep.
I mean, that is the direct effect of that sound. But if we know that, then we also know there's sounds that can put us into an elevated state, a more peaceful, powerful, healing place. So it's just about knowing history and then how to counteract that and help yourself.
It's similar to what you were talking about before. I guess it's the same principle. Is that with the Rife machine, is that there's a healing part, but there's like an opposite effect of that, which is a death part. And as much as they can throw at us, when we say they, we mean they, with that they. And so when they throw this at us, we do have the ability to be able to fight for ourselves and to be able to protect ourselves. So cool, man.
And the most beautiful thing is nobody realizes just how powerful they are.
That's good.
And the more we spend time figuring out that and loving ourselves and healing ourselves and awakening to the fact of our divinity and our true God-like essence,
That's good.
we're not going to really be enthralled with our life until we do.
Why don't we love ourselves?
We're programmed not to, on purpose, to keep us out of our power.
That's good.
A society is much easier to control if they are not in their power.
That's good. And we all have a power. You actually do have power, like a legitimate power, like billions of thunderstorms going on in your brain, like every day, every minute, like billions, hundreds of billion, like 100 billion, 400 billion thunderstorms, all encased in this thing that we don't have any clue what the power of this, but we do have that power, right? And you're tapping into that. So you've been doing that for 13, 15 years or so, like
13
working on.
since my mom died. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like there's subtle things, people are like, well, how did you change your life around? And, because now I really live like a miracle every day. Like I just kind of like lean back. I've done the action. Don't think I'm, sitting over here waiting for the phone to ring. I've worked hard, but now I just kind of lean back and allow what is supposed to flow to me. And, I give fully, and then the energy is a perfect exchange and everything just is effortless.
That's good.
But in order to create that to happen, I needed to elevate my frequency. And what does that mean? If we are a subtotal of everything that's happened to us, and each one of those things had a allotted equation or amount attached to it. So if something traumatic happened to me and it was a -50, then that would affect my overall score or my overall frequency. So until you heal and remove that frequency from holding you down in that density, you can't expand into your totality. So I did all that work. And I still continue to do that work. I'm not done. But healing the wounds and the child traumas, and then I looked at the stuff I'm putting in my body through my mouth. So what am I eating? Is it alive? Is it a high frequency food? Is it a dead animal? And I made some changes in my choices there. And then I paid attention to what I'm digesting through my eyes.
Yeah,
okay, I'm
that's
not
good.
going to watch horror movies anymore. I'm going to watch Gaia and watch quantum physics and see how we're all the cosmos. And then that elevated me. And then what am I listening to? Am I having conversations with people that are nourishing my soul, or are they? So I edited that out of my life. And as you do that, you just kind of get in alignment with your true divine self. And that's where your power is. It's all love. It is all love. Oh, my phone's ringing.
It's all good. It is all about love. No, let's stay on that. So yeah, that's what it's all about, man. It's all about love, and it's all about, man, there's been so much unlove. Like we feel totally unloved from so much of this, so much of the world that you're saying that you edited it out. And you have an option, friends. You do have an option. You can edit your life. It's your life.
Absolutely.
It's not selfish either. I think that for a long time I thought that
because you were programmed to believe that.
I thought it was selfish for like trying to have goals or having, or anything. Even when I'm not like my ultimate success, right? Like, but I think that where I'm at right now, I feel super successful with like my life, and
you are.
And when I first started feeling a little bit of success or a little bit of like good about myself, I felt like I shouldn't be doing that because it would make these people around me feel bad about themselves, or they would look at me like, oh, well, you're successful. Well, and you got to let that go. You totally got to release that from your life.
That was huge for me. The same exact experience. If I was doing too well in life, I felt bad for my friends. And we were programmed to play small because of that.
That's it.
And, I have this speech by Martin Luther King. We're not afraid to be successful. We're afraid of our greatness.
That's right.
But by playing small, we're not giving anyone else the opportunity to play big. So by shining my light,
that's right,
I am giving others permission to do the same.
That's right.
And that's where we can step into our power and make these drastic changes that need to happen in society and in healthcare and in everywhere.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. So I was thinking about this like earlier today when I was thinking about us talking, and like this just came to my head, like there's this word that we keep on hearing is awake.
Yeah.
Like people are waking up. And there's also this other one which is like polar opposite. It's funny that I'm coming back to that, which is woke.
I know.
I'm woke and I'm awake, right?
Yeah, I think woke is the illusion of awake.
It's good.
But I like to use the word awareness. I don't like to use the word awake because awake means you are completely asleep. And I don't think this is a black and white world. I think there's layers and dimensions to awareness and awareness of consciousness. So, it's some people will get an awareness of something happening, but they can't see the other layers. So it's not a yes or a no. It's kind of like, where are they?
A level of awareness as you grow through that, as you can actually handle it, because you can't always handle the truth,
It's a matter of healing old wounds and old programs and old belief systems that might not even be your own, to step into a perception that is not what you thought reality was.
That's it. That's it. And that's good, man. You're, that's funny. The last 3 years, I've really started to realize, you just I guess as we mature, I don't wish anything,
Speak
but
for yourself. Just
yeah,
kidding.
yeah. So, but like really, like there's a moment where I think that at least for me, I like realized that I'm not dependent on, I'm dependent on me. I'm responsible for me.
Right.
Nobody else is responsible for anything, right? And I'm responsible for me first.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I can take care of me, then I can start to take care of the other people that need help and need that. We need more people like that are willing to step out of their comfort zone and to help. Just support people as they step out of this broken system. It's not even it's a broken world.
Aw, you're so kind. And I don't want to say the world is broken. I want to say going through an evolution, because our words create our reality, right? So I agree with you there. I see the same thing you do. But in creating, as a creator like yourself, I want to say it's in a rebirth phase, because we did get off track, and this is not what humanity is about. And the essence of who we are, we really do care about one another. We have just been put on this rat race or this hamster wheel that's just, oh my God, I got to go to work and I'm tired and I just haven't eaten right. And I got the kids and oh my God, I got to get their masks on for school. Like, I mean, it's, they don't even have a chance to realize that they're not looking after themselves. And that is not a life that a human that chose to come and experience. So I think we got off. And I think now people like you doing what you're doing and shining light and truth and expanding awareness and consciousness to so many, we're really in a position where we are turning the tide and inspiring people to get back to what matters. And that has been the beautiful thing about COVID, because every single person I know cherishes their time with their family now. Yeah. And we lost that for how long?
So true.
It's a blessing.
So true. So true.
It's a miracle, and it's all good things from here. We're just going to step more into our divine power and awaken and be aware of more things that we can then heal and transmute. And yeah, anyways.
We're thankful for the pandemic.
I'm grateful for all of it. It has helped me so much. It made me go within. I was this social creature in Los Angeles, out all the time with all my different friends. And now I'm like, there's a week or two where I didn't really maybe even see anybody, and who does that leave you with? And that's where the healing begins. So
that's good. So you found out more about yourself over the last couple of years too, like a deeper you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when they mandated the vaccine, and I've spoken about this, before. So when they mandated the vaccine, I made a really big decision to leave the acting industry and entertainment, because they were mandating that everyone get vaccinated. I don't subscribe to that.
Nope.
Nobody ever will tell me what to do. And so I took a stand and said, I'm going to retire, if you will, from acting on my last year, where I had 2, huge movies come out, which is great. And I thought, I'm just going to put my cap on and leave it there. And in doing so, I created space for the universe and the magic of the universe to put something in. Real and cool. If I hadn't spoken my truth, this would not have happened. And now I am helping so many people with this technology out of Russia that is just mind-bending how incredible it is. And mind-boggling. I get to help somebody every day. I didn't get to do that when I was acting. So it's really nourishing my soul as well as theirs.
Can we talk a little bit more? And we've got about 5 or 10 more minutes, but can you talk a little bit more about either one of these? The things that you added to your life, or the things that you because I love that, man. The horror movies. Who removes scary movies from their life?
Well,
But that's good. That's healthy. Well, that's so healthy.
That's why I did it, because, okay, so, one of the other things I didn't share with you that I removed from my life was alcohol, because I started reading some really nerdy books, and they were saying how alcohol is a poison, and it's they call it spirits for a reason. It weakens or lowers our own frequency. Yeah. And when our frequency or our energetic body is weak, we are more prone to outside influence. Yep. Call them spirits, negative forces, energies, whatever you want. Yep. So I cut that out. And when I cut that out slowly, I cut it out, but then slowly I started to notice my intuition was stronger. My gifts were stronger. I was getting, downloads daily. Like all these gifts started coming in. So then I was like, I don't want to trade my gifts for a drink.
That's good.
So that was really, really cool. And I also learned when you're watching something scary and your body goes, your body is having a chemical reaction to what you just saw, and it's drowning your organs in cortisol. And cortisol is a hormone that's super detrimental to your body. So why, if I'm not going to have a drink, why am I going to put my body through that poisoning and harmful experience? It's a choice.
It's good.
And I'm all about my choices.
Me too.
And others, like somebody's like, I'm having a shitty day at work. And I'm like, well, you're choosing to be there.
That's good. That's good.
So
there's
quit the job if you don't like it.
I'm a firm believer in, there's very rarely a mistake. There's generally choices that people made. And it wasn't like you did that to you. That's cool. It's okay. But you kind of did that to yourself. And owning up to it, man, that's beautiful. The
reason I do that is not to be like, it's your responsibility. No, it's like, hold on. You're having an experience as a victim.
That's good.
I'm my day and it's gone. Okay, you're in a victim experience right now. How can I shift that experience for you?
That's good.
Choose it. Okay, I'm choosing to be here. Fuck it. I'm here. I'm choosing it. I don't know what I was thinking, but I did that. So I'm not a victim anymore. It changes the whole frequency of the experience. And then it leaves you in a position of power to create something more beneficial moving forward. Whatever that looks like.
That's really, really beautiful. I typically do, at the end of the shows, like you posted this, but most of your stories are the good post. So if you're following along, it's official Melanie Marden, Marden. There's truth coming out of her Instagram channel, dude. Like for real. There's like serious truth coming out of there. And just a journey, man. It's a really cool journey. So kind of back to this is you're in the process of making a documentary. It's gonna heal a lot of people. It's gonna change a lot of lives. What made you do that? What made you pull the trigger on a documentary? Somebody came to you, or you went and found it?
Yeah, I'm getting emotional because it's actually coming to fruition. Like it's been 13 years of research and 4 years of self-funding, having to kick my ass and get it back in gear and keep pushing. And even when a storyline didn't work out, then I got to go back and come up with more money and hire a different videographer. And then this editor screws me over and blah, 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 blah. It's been such a journey, but I am so dedicated to this cause because I know people have been lied to for so long, and they're making decisions on how they choose to save their life without all the information. And
That's
that to me is when you omit information, it is a lie.
that's it.
So I want people to know the truth about how they can heal their bodies. Um, it's in honor of my mom, who lived in honor of me. And I'm just really excited. It's going to mean that she didn't die for no reason.
That's
It's going to mean
beautiful.
that she died to help all these people. And that's how I choose to see it. So Cure This, the movie, is on Instagram too.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, hey, thanks again. I know we could talk for hours. We'll do this again sometime soon. Is that
I would
cool?
love that. You're
Yeah.
amazing. Thank you for doing what you're doing. You are such a light
Thanks a lot.
and making such a big impact, and your energy is beautiful.
I appreciate you. All right. Well, have a good day.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Bye.
Bye.